Warning. This educational video is classified and is intended for Monarch employees only. Anyone found viewing this outside of their jurisdiction will be arrested, as it is a felony to do so. You have been warned.
Welcome to Monarch. As many of you know by now, monsters exist. We have been researching them for decades, with some ranging from 100 feet tall to over 350 feet tall, and there may be some out there that are even larger that have yet to be discovered. Our goal is to protect the civilians of the world by learning about these creatures we have called massive unidentified terrestrial organisms, or MUTOs for short. We have found some of these creatures to be docile, although some are extremely territorial, such as Titanus Gojira, a large crocodilian-like creature that we discovered in the 40s that appears to be the self-appointed king of the monsters, as well as an ape-like creature that was discovered when we set a research team to the then unmapped Skull Island, where over a dozen helicopters were taken down by the giant ape the natives have called Kong. We have since uncovered a dozen new titans, such as Titanus Leviathan in Loch Ness, Scotland, and Titanus Scylla, who's currently slumbering in Arizona in the United States of America. Now, what happens when one of these titans decides to take a stroll through downtown New York? Without a plan, thousands of people could die. Well, we at Monarch have set out to create a contingency plan, just in case a disaster like this occurs. Now, this plan will be broken down into areas from residential to industrial estates, so those who find themselves in this unfortunate event are able to have a fighting chance. So, could you survive a Godzilla attack? Where are you right now? Are you at home? On a farm? At work in your designated Monarch facility? Look around. If a 30-story monster was to attack, how would you defend yourself? What would your first action be? Well, let's start off in residential areas. So for those that live in populated regions, pay attention to the following details. Envision yourself sat in your home. You're watching your television set, but your channel is interrupted by the news that monsters exist, and one of them is heading to your location right now. You will have to shake off the earth-shattering news so you can figure out what to do in order to keep you and your family safe. For those who have no access to or are out of range of evacuation centers, you have a few course of actions. Stay put and hope your house isn't in range of the attack, or you could get into the basement and duck for cover, or you get in your car and drive to a safer location. For those that stay sat in their chair, if a monster comes within 6 kilometers of your home, you're in range of any potential debris thrown from its area of destruction. This could lead to glass being lodged in your skin, bricks being thrown into the room, and dust entering the area, choking your lungs. Your chances of survival are automatically reduced because of this. For those that relocated to the basement, you have a much better chance of coming out unharmed. Being underground means heavy debris thrown through the home will be unlikely to hit you if the monster remains 6 kilometers away. If you do not have a basement, make sure to find some cover and keep far away from any windows where broken glass could be a hazard. For those that got into their car in hopes of driving to a safer location, congratulations, you're now in a traffic jam. The sheer volume of homes attempting to flee the city has clogged up the streets and highways, meaning you're a sitting duck stuck in plain view of the monster, with practically no protection. Being on the move would only draw more attention to you, so staying in your basement is the safest way to keep safe if a monster attacks. That is what you should do or not do if a titan is around 6 kilometers away from your home. You'll have a good chance of survival unless you're unlucky. But what if the monster approaches your location, or even worse, clashes with another titan? What then? The chances of this happening are relatively slim, since titans prefer the comfort of a towering city, areas that it can defend itself in from oncoming attacks. But what if it does happen? Well, as discussed, for those with basements, your chances of survival increases dramatically, and basements with doors twofold. Make sure to turn off all the lights as to not draw attention from the monsters, some of which are attracted to the light. If you find yourself in the basement, close the doors and cover the remaining holes with towels. This prevents smoke from any potential fires from entering the room, so you can continue to breathe the remaining oxygen supply in the room. You can monitor how safe it is by feeling the tremors created by the footsteps of the Titans. Place your hand on the ground and feel the vibrations created by each step, and analyze whether you believe it's getting weaker or stronger. The weaker it is, the farther away it is from your home. The stronger it is, the closer it is, which means that you must remain in your basement. Some monsters, like Godzilla, have a ranged attack, so ending safety protocols prematurely may lead to your imminent destruction. Anyone without a basement must listen to all previous instructions, but for safekeepings, grab a towel and place it over your eyes to protect you from any oncoming debris. Within 6 kilometers, glass, bricks, cars, trailers, and even buildings can be thrown into your general direction. Unfortunately, your chances of survival decrease dramatically. The chances of survival decrease even more if the military decide to turn your neighborhood into a war zone in order to defend the more populated areas of the city. So make sure to take all precautions with the utmost importance. So that's what to do with homes in residential areas. Next up, let's take a look into agricultural regions. Rural areas are possibly the safest place for a person to be when a Titan attacks your homeland. With so much space, there's very little chance of debris being thrown through your house, and your house will seem insignificant to the wandering Titan. Although if you receive an alert that a Titan is headed towards your location, it is recommended that you switch off your lights as to not draw attention. Because unlike a town where many houses will be illuminated, you're the only thing for miles lit up like a lantern. If you follow this step, you're almost guaranteed safety, although you might lose some livestock to a hungry monster. Now, some of you with enough land might have a bunker built because of the looming threat of a nuclear attack from Russia during this Cold War. If you have dug your bunker deep enough into the ground and have stocked it with enough food to last for several months, your chances of survival increase dramatically. This is your best chance at surviving a monster attack. The chances are the monster will come and go with some collateral damage to your surrounding neighborhood. But in case a Titan wants to stay in your location for longer than expected, a bunker is efficient for staying put for extended periods of time. In this age of Titans, we recommend purchasing a bunker, and Monarch is teaming up with a variety of partners to produce custom Titan protection bunkers for government employees very soon. Next, we're going to move on to a section called Areas of Interest. These are regions that monsters are attracted to, whether it's because they're a source of energy or they're easy to spot from a distance, like a city. For those in the city, you are going to have the most difficult time. With enough warning, you will be directed to an allocated emergency center, typically reserved for hurricanes. But these can often be limited. If you cannot find an emergency center, the next stage would be to vacate to any subways in the area and hunker down underground until the monster hopefully passes over you, making as little damage as possible. But these attacks could happen at any time, and sufficient warning might not be guaranteed. Skyscrapers may very well get in the Titan's way, and it will push them over and slash at them in order to get through a very tight spot in the concrete jungle. The area near the exterior walls of a building is the most dangerous place to be. Windows, facades, and architectural details are often the first parts of the building to collapse. To stay away from this danger zone, stay inside if you are inside, and outside if you are outside. Also, the shaking can be so strong that you will not be able to move far without falling down, and objects may fall or be thrown at you that you do not expect. Injuries can be avoided if you drop to the ground before the earthquake drops you. If your building begins to collapse and you have not had an opportunity to escape, drop, cover, and hold on, as this will increase your chances of survival, although in this case, that will be very slim. Those in high security banks may have safe houses underground. These safe houses are blast-proof, which should be reinforced enough to withstand most oncoming attacks. But monsters may not be the only thing to look out for, as you might encounter mass amounts of people wishing to survive the attack by taking the most extreme methods, which includes force. So be wary of large crowds, as many individuals can carry weapons in order to get what they want to guarantee their own survival. Now, a power plant may be the most dangerous place to be during a Titan attack. Titans soak up radiation as a source of energy, so power plants may very well be the first place they visit. In the US alone, there are over 50 nuclear power plants across 29 states, including Texas, Illinois, Virginia, California, and more. Power plants stationed close to the sea will be high targets, as Godzilla could rise at the most unexpected of times. But you can be prepared. For those that live around the station and live in the US, each commercial nuclear power reactor has on-site and off-site emergency plans to assure that adequate protective measures can be taken to protect the public in the event of a radiological emergency. But if you work at one of the many plants in the country, if a Titan is reported to be headed towards your location, you must commence an emergency shutdown by issuing a reactor trip, which consists of a rapid insertion of the control rods into the core to stop the fission chain reaction. This will mean if the Titan attacks and damages the building, it will prevent any radiation leaks from causing potentially worldwide problems. If you adhere to your training, you can survive. But do remember, your life is insignificant to the many millions that are at risk if you don't do your job. If you shut down the reactor in time, the Titan should hopefully leave you alone. But we cannot deny the newfound risk of living near these facilities. At Monarch, we cannot guarantee your survival, but we will try our best to work with the government to ensure as many people can find safe haven in case of a Titan attack. So to simplify the results for your chances of survival in case of a Titan invasion, we'll split it into two numerical categories. One if you decide to not stick to the safety instructions, and the other if you decide to follow the suggestions. If you decide to refuse to listen to the suggestions, your chances of survival are as follows. In residential areas, you have a 60% chance of survival, which means a death of 8 out of 20 people. In rural areas like farms, you will have a 90% chance of survival, which is 2 out of every 20 people. In a bunker, you have a 99% chance of survival, which means there's practically no risk to you dying immediately. In a city, you have a 30% chance of survival, which is 14 out of 20 people dying from the attack. In a power plant, you unfortunately have a 10% chance of survival, which is 18 out of every 20 people dying because of the attack. For those that do follow the instructions, your chances of survival increase dramatically in some instances. In residential areas, you have a 75% chance of surviving, which is 5 out of 20 people dying from the attack. In residential areas with basements, your chances of survival increases by 10%, which means 3 out of 20 people will die from the attack. In rural areas like farms, your chances increase to 95%, which is 1 out of every 20 people. In a bunker, your chances of survival are still 99%, as long as you remember it's constantly stocked with food. In a city, your chances of survival are increased by 20%, which means only 10 out of 20 people will die. These chances increase to 85% if you manage to find an emergency shelter. In a power plant, your chances of survival increase dramatically to 70%, which is only 6 out of 20 people dying from the attack, as long as you make sure to commence the emergency shutdown and then are able to find shelter. But what are the chances a Titan might attack? Well, for now, it's unlikely. It seems most creatures are in hiding because of Godzilla, a species of alpha predator that keeps the Titans in line. They live in fear of their ruler and seem to not want to challenge him, although that's not to say that some haven't tried. In the 40s and 50s, a creature called Titanus Shinomura attempted to fight Godzilla, but was killed by the Castle Bravo nuclear bomb in the Pacific. Godzilla hasn't been seen since, or at least officially by Monarch. Civilian sightings have been reported all across the globe. But other Titans are still being discovered, like Kamacuras in Vietnam, as reported by veteran Frank Wilson back in 1969. The attacks are happening, and they're becoming more frequent, so the chance of another Titan rising up to challenge the King of the Monsters increases every day. So before we go, let's recap on what to do if a Titan attacks. If you're at home, stay away from the windows and enter your basement if you have one, and check to see if the vibrations of its footsteps are getting stronger and more frequent, so you know whether it's safe to come out, and make sure to stay away from the roads, as they will most likely be blocked up, preventing you from escaping. If you have a bunker, remember to keep it stocked with food in case of an imminent Titan attack that may prolong for an extended period of time. For rural areas like farms, turn all the lights off and stay away from the windows, and then the Titan should walk right past you. If you're in a city, make sure to find your local evacuation center. It might be worth finding out where that is today so you can prepare. And if you find yourself in a collapsing building, whether that be an apartment complex or an office building, make sure to drop, cover, and hold on to your butt. For power plants, if you work at a facility, stay calm and commence the emergency shutdown process so you can be the one to save millions of lives. And once that is done, find shelter to protect yourself from any falling debris. For those that live near a power plant, you will have emergency shelters nearby which would typically be used for meltdowns, so evacuate as quickly and as calmly as possible. This has been Volume 1 of Would You Survive a Godzilla Attack? Remember, this video is for personal use only and is highly classified. Only shared between authorized government officials and Monarch employees.
Reproducing this VHS is a federal offense and you will be taken.